Hey y'all, welcome to day 27 and chapter 40. Hey, we're just going to pause for a sec because where we left it was Hezekiah saying to Isaiah, hey, as long as it's good in my lifetime, and the promise that the king of Assyria won't overwhelm the city. But now we're jumping generations forward to what some scholars call Deutero-Isaiah, or the second Isaiah. Things have so drastically changed that they call it the second book of Isaiah. Now it's talking to an exiled community. So just a brief background, I'm just going to go through the headings of 2 Kings, but you could go through the headings of Chronicles as well. So we had Ahaz ruling in Judah, and then at the same time Hoshea is ruling in Israel, and then Samaria falls to Assyria, we read about that. That was predicted. Isaiah talked about that. And then chapter 18 of 2 Kings, it's Hezekiah rules in Judah. We've been reading about that. And Assyria invades Judah. We also read about that. We saw Sennacherib threaten Jerusalem in chapter 19. Here the heading is Hezekiah seeks the Lord's help. We read about that. Isaiah predicts Judah's deliverance. Chapter 20, Hezekiah's sickness and recovery. We read about that, right? And then envoys from Babylon. We literally just read about that yesterday. Now 21, because Hezekiah dies. Manasseh, his son, rules in Judah. Bad. You can read in 2 Kings chapter 21 if you like. And then Amon, his son, becomes the next king. And then chapter 22, because it stops doing Judah's king, Israel's king, Judah's king, Israel's king, because now Israel is gone. Israel has been taken into exile like we read. But chapter 22, after Amon, Josiah rules in Judah. Very good kid. Good, amazing man of God, Josiah. Hilkiah discovers God's law. And then chapter 23 of 2 Kings is Josiah's religious reforms. This dude wants to serve God. He wants the nation to serve God. It says Josiah celebrates Passover. And then Josiah dies in battle. So then Ahaz rules in Judah. Bad. Jehoiakim rules in Judah. Bad. And then chapter 24, Jehoiachin rules in Judah. Also bad. Zedekiah rules in Judah. And then chapter 25 starts with the fall of Jerusalem, and then kind of 1 Kings finishes there. So all that to say, we're now generations through, and Assyria hasn't come, just as the Lord promised, but Babylon has come. Lay siege to Jerusalem and taken the people of Judah into captivity. So that's where we pick up the story. Chapter 40, let's go. Comfort. It's a different kind of message now. We're speaking to people in exile. Comfort. Comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem. Tell her that her sad days are gone and her sins are pardoned. Yes, the Lord has punished her twice over for all her sins. Listen, it's the voice of someone shouting, clear the way through the wilderness for the Lord. Make a straight highway through the wasteland for our God. Fill in the valleys and level the mountains and hills. Straighten the curves and smooth out the rough places. Then the glory of the Lord will be revealed and all the people will see it together. The Lord has spoken. A voice said, shout. I asked, what should I shout? Shout that people are like grass. Their beauty fades as quickly as the flowers in a field. No matter how much Botox, people, it fades. The grass withers and the flowers fade beneath the breath of the Lord. And so it is with people. The grass withers and the flowers fade, but the word of our God stands forever. O Zion, messenger of good news, shout from the mountaintops. Shout it louder, O Jerusalem. Shout and do not be afraid. Tell the towns of Judah, your God is coming. Yes, the sovereign Lord is coming in power. He will rule with a powerful arm. See, he brings his reward with him as he comes. He will feed his flock like a shepherd. Oh, come on. He will carry the lambs in his arms, holding them close to his heart. He will gently lead the mother sheep with their young. Who else has held the oceans in his hand? It's a bit bleary today. Bleak and something else. But the oceans. Who has held the oceans in his hand? Who has measured off the heavens with his fingers? A span, it says in the Hebrew, that's there to there. Who has measured them? Who else knows the weight of the earth? Or has weighed the mountains and hills on a scale? Who was able to advise the Spirit of the Lord? Who knows enough to give him advice or teach him? Has the Lord ever needed anyone's advice? Does he need instruction about what is good? Did someone teach him what is right or show him the path of justice? This is a bit of a slight of the god of the Babylonians, Marduk, who needed to consult the God of wisdom in order to get wisdom. But this is like, our God don't need no consultation on some other God. He's like self-sufficient, guys. No, for all the nations of the world are but a drop in the bucket. They are nothing more than dust on the scales. Like, let's right size ourselves for a second. He picks up the whole earth as though it were a grain of sand. All the wood in Lebanon's forests and all Lebanon's animals would not be enough to make a burnt offering worthy of our God. The nations of the world are worth nothing to him. In his eyes, they count for less than nothing, mere emptiness and froth. To whom can you compare God? What image can you find to resemble him? Can he be compared to an idol formed in a mold, overlaid with gold and decorated with silver chains? And if you look at history and archaeology, you'll see those kind of gods made. Or if people are too poor for that, they might at least choose wood that won't decay and a skilled craftsman to carve an image that won't fall down. Haven't you heard? Don't you understand? Are you deaf to the words of God? The words he gave before the world began? Are you so ignorant? God sits above the circle of the earth. The people seem like grasshoppers to him. He spreads out the heavens like a curtain and makes his tent from them. He judges the great people of the world and brings them all to nothing. They hardly get started, barely taking root. When he blows on them and they wither, the wind carries them off like chaff. To whom will you compare me? Who is my equal? Asks the Holy One. Look up into the heavens. Who created all the stars? He brings them out like an army, one after another, calling each by name. Because of his great and incomparable strength, not a single one is missing. It's like not a single one of these starry hosts have gone on absent without leave. Like they haven't shot through. They can't because he summons them forth. They are his. And Jacob, how can you say that the Lord does not see your troubles? Israel, how can you say that God ignores your rights? Like fair, right? Like they're in a foreign land, they're enslaved, they're exiled, they're not in their home. It would be a kind of understandable prayer to pray, like the Lord doesn't see us anymore. We're outside of his land. He's not clearly looking at us, but have you never heard? Have you never understood? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of all the earth. He never grows weak or weary. No one can measure the depths of his understanding. He gives power to the weak and strength to the powerless. Even youths become weak and tired, and young men will fall in exhaustion. But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not go weary. They will walk and not faint. As exiled people are being implored, just keep waiting on the Lord. And you'll have the strength to keep going if you keep waiting on the Lord. So that could be a takeaway for you, maybe. You want to take that as your takeaway. What about this, that God sits enthroned on the circle, above the circle of the earth, like on a day where they all believe that the earth is flat. Here it says in the Word of God that there's a circle of the earth. That's pretty cool. Pretty good. Just taking us back to verse 3, the clear the way. You know, this is John the Baptist says, this is who I am. It's my job to clear the way, to make straight the paths, and to be that voice crying in the wilderness. This is talking about the coming of the Lord, as in Jesus. And John the Baptist was the one to make the way for him. You know, just looking at these few verses, it was prophesied to me at a regional day in Gyra, that I'd been 8 months walking on a tightrope. And it was like this guy had no idea, and actually it was 8 months that I'd been walking on a tightrope. And he said, you're going to walk into a wide, broad road. And I feel like this is happening right now. Like there's still difficulty, there's still trial, there's still trouble, but it's nothing. Like it is nothing compared to that time. And even if that didn't come to pass by verse 5, like that 3 to 5 didn't come to pass right now, it says, shout that people are like the grass, their beauty fades as quickly as the flowers of the field. The grass withers and the flowers fade, but the word of our God stands forever. That even if my life, like I didn't see it happen in my lifetime, that the word of God would have stood forever and I would have seen it in eternity. So I don't know what promise you're hanging on to. I encourage you, like trust with everything that you're going to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, but know for sure that we're all going to see it in the next life.